So the Dallas Cowboys got themselves a new coach by hiring Mike McCarthy Monday. 5-year contract. A lot of people, particularly on social media as well as sports media, are not feeling the new hire for the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people feel like it's a safe hire. A lot of people are saying that it's okay, mediocre. People say from a scale from 1 to 6, they give it maybe a 6.5. Okay. Stephen A. Smith, mocked at the notion of the Cowboys, even over the weekend, interested in Mike McCarthy. They only interviewed 2 coaches. I forgot the coach for Cincinnati, the black head coach for Cincinnati, Marvin Lewis, and they also hired Mike McCarthy. And they said it was their minds were blown after interviewing Mike McCarthy, so much so they held him over and interviewed him some more, and then eventually he became the new Dallas head coach. I want to answer a lot of questions. I want to answer a lot of people's questions, including Stephen A. Smith. I know he's not going to watch this video, but I want to ask you guys, what would have been a better hire besides Mike McCarthy? Look at the college ranks. All the top college candidates, a lot of these college coaches do not even have NFL experience. So you mean to tell me that's a better pick than Mike McCarthy? They would eventually had to, since they had no head coaching experience in the National Football League, you do know that it's going to take them a year to adjust to the rules and rosters and things of that nature. You just don't get whoever you want to play for your team. You don't recruit. So they, easily would have to wait a year. Now there are some rules. There are some things into that situation. If you look at Nick Saban, is he going to step away from Alabama? I don't think so. John Harbaugh, he used to be an NFL coach for the 49ers. Is he's leaving? You think he's going to leave Michigan to go back into that big, massive headache that he had with the National Football League? I say not. So, when you talk about the rest of the college coaches, they would probably took a year to adjust to the NFL, and I don't think any of those coaches would have been better than what you have right now with Mike McCarthy. Okay, let's talk about NFL. A lot of people say, well, they should have interviewed more people. Josh McDaniels. Kick the tires around with Josh McDaniels. Folks, if you're not talking about, and what's better than Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, if you can get New England's head coach, Bill Belichick, if you can get Mike Thompson from the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you can get Sean Payton from the New Orleans Saints, if you can get any of those 3 candidates, yes, that's a better hire than Mike McCarthy. It's a sexier name. Okay, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. You want to go into the news with a big splash. Okay, that's a big splash effect on news and on social media. But you're not going to get those coaches. Okay, those coaches are not going anywhere. They're going to still remain with their team next year. All right. There's no question marks with these coaches. None of these coaches are interested in leaving the organizations where they reside. Okay. So, are you talking about something young? Try to do like what the LA Rams did? Got them a younger coach? How is that working for the LA Rams? They didn't even make it to the playoffs. Okay. So you're going to get a young coordinator to do it? Been there and done that with Dallas. Dallas has hired, Jason Garrett was an offensive coordinator. I feel like Mike McCarthy, it may not be a big splash to social media, may not be a big splash to a lot of journalists that are in sports media. Okay, but I feel like it's not a safe hire. It's the best hire. Okay, and in reality, Mike McCarthy should have been the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, but they acted. They basically they got Freddie Kitchen, and that was to ego massage Baker Mayfield because they were friends. Okay, they had a kinship, and they felt like, well, if they got a great kinship with one another, let him be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And they fired him a full calendar football season, and the GM is fired. Okay, so that decision was a disastrous decision. Mike McCarthy, they should have really gotten Mike McCarthy to be their head coach for the Cleveland Browns. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, for one person's loss is another person's gain, or should be thanking their lucky stars that they got a coach with a resume like Mike McCarthy. He have won. He been in Super Bowls, won Super Bowls. He's been in an organization, a winning organization. He's been around the best of the best. A lot of people call him a quarterback whisperer. The things he did with Brett Favre, as well as, I had his name, but then I lost it. But it'll come to me. Shoot. I forgot that dude's name that fast, that quickly. I apologize, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Does the State Farm commercials and all that? It'll come to me as I keep continuing to talk. But I feel like Mike McCarthy, if you look at his resume, fits Dallas perfectly. Not to mention, he played in an organization where, he didn't have no control as far as players. He had input, but he really didn't have control of which players we're going to pick, which players we're going to let go. No, the organization handled that. Okay, they had a great person in their GM office who handled that. Okay, to me, Aaron Rodgers. I knew it was going to come to me. Aaron Rodgers. So this decision helps out Dak Prescott. We're going to finally, because people who have been on and off the fence with Dak Prescott, this is the coach that's going to get the best out of Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is going to be, he always had the stats to back him up. Even though a lot of people don't feel like he can take them to the promised land, I do. I feel like Mike McCarthy is only going to make Dak Prescott a lot better. The offense is going to be primarily a throwing team, where the bulk of their football touches are going to be pass plays. It's also, believe it or not, Ezekiel Elliott is going to make him better by, they're not going to force feed him the ball, limiting a lot of his carries, okay, but preserve him throughout his football career, okay, where he don't have to take a lot of punishment. So this makes Ezekiel Elliott better. Their offensive line, to me, is in the top 5. It's also going to make that line better. Now, as far as what the Dallas Cowboys salary cap is, they're not going to be able to sign everybody, okay? In the next couple of years, everybody's going to be a free agent, okay? Particularly on defense as well as offense. Obviously, if you sign Mike McCarthy, the bulk of your money is going to go to the offense, okay? So the defense is probably going to be shuffling players in and out. They're not going to be able to keep all that talent on defense. And a lot of people have question marks about Dallas's defense, okay? But I felt like I felt like the reason why you couldn't see the very best of the Dallas Cowboys defense was because of their offense. Sometimes their offense would do a bunch of 3 and outs, make bonehead decisions, questionable calls, and I feel like all that's going to be eliminated by a better coaching staff, Mike McCarthy. Depending on, I'm pretty sure he already has who's going to be working alongside him, And this is going to make the Dallas Cowboys a lot better. They're definitely going to the playoffs. I felt like they have more talent on their roster than the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Philadelphia Eagles were unable to advance. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. It would have been a different, complete story if Mike McCarthy was there a year early. And easily the Dallas Cowboys are going to make it into the NFC. As far as Super Bowl goes, I'm not too. It depends on what the rest of the NFC is going to do, and it depends on what the Giants are going to do. Now there's a lot of rumors saying that the Giants are interested in Jason Garrett. Okay, we're gonna see if Jason Garrett can land. See how important he is if he doesn't get a job by next Monday. See how many people that were really interested in Jason Garrett. I feel like Jason Garrett can, if instead of going to the Giants, a lot of people feel like he's rumored to go to the Giants. To me, Jason Garrett will fit perfectly in Cleveland. Cleveland needs a stable coach. Okay, now Mike McCarthy is not a rah-rah type coach. You sort of get the best. You sort of get the best brilliance of Mike McCarthy on the blackboard, on the chalkboard. The way how he conjure up plays on the offensive side of things. And a lot of people felt like the league caught up to Mike McCarthy. That's why he's no longer the Packers coach. I felt like that was more so of Aaron Rodgers. I felt like between the relationship between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers deteriorated. Aaron Rodgers wanted a lot more credit for the Green Bay Packers' success, and they had to let one or the other go, and they're not going to let Aaron Rodgers go. So they definitely let go of Mike McCarthy, and also the message was stale in the Green Bay Packers locker room. Okay, so I feel like Dallas Cowboys got a great hire. Okay, is it a Bill Parcells, a Bill Belichick? Is it a Nick Saban? Is it Sean Payton? It's none of those. And let's get on. It's not that type of pick, but I feel like a lot of people are reaching when they say Josh McDaniels would have been a better hire than Mike McCarthy. Remember, folks, Josh McDaniels was offered a job to be the Indianapolis head coach, and then he decided to turn that down and go back to the Patriots. Okay, this is the same Josh McDaniels that was a head coach and did all the decision making for the Denver Broncos. Okay, and look how that turned out. All right, so I feel like it's a great hire to me. I'm not saying it's I feel like in reality it was really the only hire. Unless those other three names were deciding, Mike Thompson, unless those names were getting ready to quit and they wanted to, if you had heard any rumbles and rumors about any of those three coaches I mentioned wanted to leave their organization to start something fresh, something new, then you hold on and see if you can get them into the building. Okay, so I feel like none of those coaches are going anywhere. They're going to stay where they are. They got the best opportunity, where they are in their other organizations. And I feel like Mike McCarthy is going to be, you're going to start seeing a lot of tremendous things with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Now, does this mean that they're Super Bowl bound? They're going to be one of the teams in the running for the Super Bowl. I feel like they're going to really be the team in the NFC East. You look at the landscape. Even Ron Rivera, a lot of people were talking about Ron Rivera should have been interviewed for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think so. He's more of a defensive-minded coach. He's a rah-rah coach. He's going to be going to the Redskins. We're going to see how that turns out. I think that's going to be a rebuild session with the Washington Redskins. If you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like they can match. I think They always had the Dallas Cowboys number, but the Dallas Cowboys always did good with Jason Garrett at the helm. So with Mike McCarthy, I feel like, that's going to be a very interesting matchup. When you talk about the Giants, they're still rebuilding, and there's a possibility of them getting Jason Garrett, and you already know what you got from Jason Garrett in his stint with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on it. Ultimately, nobody's really not going to know the final conclusion to this until the end of next season. All right. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, and I'm up out of here. Deuces.